Let's go c5. c5, c5. Okay. e6 retains some flexibility. I don't know what I want to do with my kingside pieces just yet. e6, d6, big difference. Maybe this bishop now has the possibility of coming here. If d6 was in there, that's not happening, is it? Queen c7, still retaining some flexibility. I want to learn a little bit more about what these bishops want to do, or maybe see if white's going to run first with f4. Okay. Maybe I will still delay my kingside development and get this in before bishop to f3 is played, and then maybe this could be a bit of an inconvenience. So bishop b7, just following through here. b5, bishop b7, they go hand in hand. Now what? I've made a lot of pawn moves. I only have my queen out. This is a prevent. This knight does not want to get kicked away. And now I think this is the correct move to be going with next, to force white into doing some defensive on e4. If f3 is played, I think I have been successful, because one of the things that white would like to do is get in this f4 move, but now it's has defensive duties. So do I play d6, or do I play bishop c5 and then pawn push? Or do I consider bishop d6? I think I might want to do that. I'm actually going to do that. Bishop d6. There is no sack on this square. I could get out of an eventual fork by giving check here. So I'm going to do this first. Bishop here. I don't believe I'm missing anything. If this king was not castled, I've said this in a previous stream, if he wasn't castled, bishop d6 is a blunder, just because of, you actually have, as white, you'd have a couple options, but knight takes pawn here, knight on d takes pawn is leading to a big world of hurt. This bishop falls, the bishop pair is gone. It's a big problem. Or actually, no, you know what, there's a way out of it because of a... No, I'm mistaken. If the king was on e1, so there wouldn't be a check on this diagonal. Now, there is maybe... My queen could end up here. White would be without the h and g pawns. And then... I don't know what the follow-up is. If I really wanted to go for a draw or something, I could. Just going back and forth with my queen at the end of it. But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to get on a better diagonal. I've weakened the light squares by first taking a pit stop on d6. And maybe I could look into h5, h4 a bit later. But I think I want some more development in d6. Seems like the right thing to do. I want to develop my knight on d7, that way it's not in the way of my light square bishop. So that's why d6. Watch over e5, vacate d7. Couple moves away from being fully developed. So now what? Okay. That's just to protect the bishop. If I push that knight away and move earlier, the knight would play to f5 and be defending the bishop, and I don't know if I would have a good continuation. I didn't even look at it, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have a good continuation. I would really just turn out to be weakening my d5 square. So, do I take the bishop or just back up? What would you do? You think about the answer before I share my own thoughts. I think that could help improve your game. Subject your own thoughts. What would you do? Take, back up? I'm backing up. because this cannot be comfortable having the queen on c1. White would love to finally just have the queen out and have the rooks connected. If anything, let this happen, and I maintain control over this square. Now, my last question is, do I run with castle, or do I try for something like h5, h4? I think that it's best to just castle, and I'm foreseeing that I will be able to get the d5 move in successfully, and the position will be opening up. The d file will be opening up, and my rooks, once on the d file, will be eyeing that second rank square, d2. Once there, it could definitely end up causing white some serious problems, especially since this f pawn has moved, the g pawn has moved, the second rank is a bit weak. So let me do this first. I'm looking to open up the position. My queen is in a good spot, kind of boxing this knight out. Oftentimes you'll see a bishop's placement opposite the knight. Two squares, if they're both on the same file, two squares separating will often just be negating that piece. So I don't want to capture with the pawn. I want my bishop to be able to see the board clearly. I want to have direct sight of f3. And as a follow-up move, I could be running with my other knight to f6. Which rook should play to d8? I'm not sure. And I don't know that it really matters. I think I would be going with this one. This is an open file and a half open, and that's just a blunder. Right? That's just a blunder. Okay, I think they were ready to just resign before I captured. They said, oops, this happens. Don't feel bad about it at all. It happens. Let's flip the board. White side, open Sicilian. What can you do better? I wonder if there's something else you could be running with. You might want to consider, well, I mean, you have the possibility, since I'm not putting immediate pressure on this pawn, you have the possibility for maybe getting in c4 and knight c3. c4 will do two things. Make d5 a bit more difficult to get in, and also the b5 move. So you could consider this. You can also consider developing your light square bishop to d3 and castling, and maybe bringing this knight over here in this direction. I think after maybe even an f4 idea. I think as black, I am successful at this point by putting pressure on this pawn in a very timely way, and you having to play your pawn up to defend this and not be able to play f4 yourself and threaten then e5 to be kicking away my king knight's position. I think this is an issue. So I think you really need to try to get in f4, bishop f3 maybe. If you could have that way, or that sort of setup coming up. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just throwing out some different ideas, but I don't think black really has too many problems unless white is able to get this pawn duo on e4 and f4. So you should be looking to somehow get that in. d5 is often the equalizing move. I was just probing for weaknesses with the bishop d6 move. And soon enough, once d5 came here, I think black is at least equal. And will certainly have the safer king.